Hey, welcome to Draftbit. In this video, you'll learn step by step how to build an app 10 times faster using a starter app template. My name is Erin, and I'll be walking you through this process. I'm a product designer who has helped build products for multiple Fortune 500 companies, but in this video, I'll be acting as a fitness influencer building an app for my clients. My app will let people subscribe either monthly or yearly. Subscribers will get access to my week-to-week programs and monthly challenges. There's also an upgrade option where I create a personalized plan based on their goals and body stats. I aim to differentiate my app from other generic fitness apps by making it feel like a truly custom product. That's why I'm using Draftbit. I've already created a mock-up within Figma that perfectly aligns with my brand and showcases all of the features for my app. Looks good, right? So let's keep going and make this vision a reality. In this video, we'll cover 5 main design skills within Draftbit. Number 1 is removing and adding sections. Skill number 2 is editing card and button styles. Skill number 3 is adding and editing images. Skill number 4 is editing font sizes. And skill number 5 is editing colors. Let's start with the home screen for now. Once you've created your Draftbit account, you'll land here on your Draftbit dashboard. The way that you get into your templates is to navigate on the left-hand panel to the starter apps. From there, you can scroll through the apps and check things out. They have a lot of really cool apps, but we already know that we're building our fitness app. So I'm gonna choose this Get Fit workout app. Then you'll choose your workspace. I just will choose my personal workspace and you'll select copy this app. It will take about 1 to 2 minutes to copy the app. And once it's done copying, you'll find it living in your dashboard. Here on this page is an untouched version of the template. So I haven't done anything to this. I have my layers panel on the left-hand side, my visual design in the center, and then kind of like my design panel and data panel on the right-hand side. I'm gonna go ahead right away and shrink this down to 75% view so that I can see the entire screen. Within Figma, I've created this design based off of the template, so I know what I'm aiming for within Draftbit. You don't have to do this, you can just design as you go, but I like to give myself a visual to aim for, and I also feel like this helps me kind of build out my brand better, right? So I have my brand colors defined and the look and feel defined before I get into working with the template. And as you can see, I'm using a lot of the elements from the Draftbit template, which will obviously speed up my design process, but I've made some major changes to the UI that are going to change the look and feel to be more custom for my brand. One of the first things I like to do once I open up a template is to collapse the layers. Once I've collapsed my layers, I also like to move through and just kind of correlate what layer goes with what visual by pressing the hide icon. So that icon that's on the left-hand side of the layer title, when you click it, it will actually hide the layer and then unhide the layer. So here I can see that the image background box contains basically everything on the screen right now with the exception of this fab. So let's see what the fab is. Okay, so the fab is that addition icon down at the bottom. So from there, we'll practice skill number 1, which is adding and deleting sections. And right away, if I see a section that I just know I'm not gonna need when I'm designing, I'll go ahead and remove it so that it doesn't bog up my design process. Let's go ahead and do that now. We'll move to the meatball icons, that's what we call it in designing world, and we'll go down to delete. All right, now I'm gonna expand this image background and I'm gonna move through, and I think how I'll start the design process for this screen is to move from the top down, and I'm going to start up here with the header section. So you can also select your layer straight from the visual screen. I work out of the layers panel a lot because I feel like you do get a bit more of a clean selection. And so this top portion is called the header, and I'm looking for that message icon because if I reference my Figma design, I don't have that messaging icon. I just don't need it for my clients. So here it is here. Message and delete. Great. So the header section is already completed. I'm going to collapse it and move to the next layer. That is the greeting section. So the greeting, I haven't changed much on my greeting portion of the app. I've just changed the text mostly. So I have, "Hi Sabrina, joined the live challenge." Let's go and plug that in. So let's see how we can edit text. I'm going to select the top box, text box, and go into the data, which is this cloud icon. That's the data field, and this is where we'll input our new text. So "Hi Sabrina," and then I'll shift to the styles tab, and that will allow me to see that implemented. Now the only thing I think I want to do here is make this font a little bit heavier, so I'll put it on medium versus regular. Great. Move to the next level of text, and this is the Have You Exercised Today? So that will be my join the design challenge or join the live challenge. And you can see that they have this on 2 lines. If it was on 1 line, and this is worth noting because it took me a second to figure out, if it's on 1 line, it will fill the container and then wrap. But I like the way that they have it spaced by putting it on those 2 lines, so I'm gonna do the same when I input my text. Join the live challenge. Great, and then I am also going to bring this weight up a little. Okay, I like that bold text there, join the live challenge. In moving down to the card. So the card will require a little bit more editing than what we just had to do. Let's zoom in on my card. So as you can see, the Draftbit design contains these stats, weight, height, and to do today. I don't need those, but I do want to maintain the card. So the first thing I'll do is select the card in the layers panel and go through and delete all of the elements that I won't be using. Okay, so card. So here I have my card. It's empty, so we're gonna fill it with all the things that I need, which is basically a text field, and a button. So with card selected on the layers panel, I'll come up to components, select the add icon, and add a text field, another text field, and a button. Okay, so we have everything we need in this card, but you can see now it's horizontally aligned and it doesn't really look like how we imagined it in the design. So I'll show you how we can fix that. You'll go to your card, or you're still on your card layer, come over to your layout section and then your flex items, and we're gonna reset the direction, the align, and the justify. And what that will do is vertically stack our items. Now looking at the design, I can already tell that these vertically stacked items don't have a lot of breathing room between them. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a gap of 8 and press enter to implement that. Lovely. I know that button's looking a little odd, so we'll get to it in a second, but let's start with our top layer of text. That's where our emoji, running girl, lives. Control Command Shift on your keyboard will pull up the runner emoji, will pull up the emojis. You can also use like a Google search, like copy paste emoji and use a website result, but I like to just pull it up on my keyboard. And then I select the emoji, I 2-finger click, copy character info, go to my text field, paste, and then I delete everything except for that emoji up top. We'll head on over to the styles panel and come down and bring her up in size. I made her 24. Perfect, I like that. Moving down to the next layer of text. So we're calling people to join the 5K Day monthly challenge, but our font, so let's go ahead and edit our font. We're gonna edit the style, the weight, and the size, and the color. All right, so I've selected system font, and I'll come down and let's try semi-bold. It's a little hard to see, so let's change the color. I'm gonna clear out the color input field, and then I'll press that color box and type in my hex code, which white. Pretty easy, 6 Fs. Okay, so now bring up that size and we'll see if we like the weight. I'm gonna make that weight a little heavier. Let's do bold. That looks good. So moving on to the button. Okay, so as you can see, the button is stretching to fill the container like the text fields are, but what we need is that button to be aligned over to the right-hand side of the card. Here's that Figma design. And the way that we'll do that is actually to put the button inside of its own box, inside of the card box. I'll show you how you do that. Select the card layer on the panel, go up to components, and then you'll add view. So view, the way I think about it, it's like a box. And we're gonna add view, and we're gonna nest our button inside of the view box. So what you have here is you have the card box, you have a text box, and a view box living inside the card box. And within the card box, within the view box, is now the button box. And what that allows us to do is come into the alignment section of the view box, set the alignment to flex end, and then it will push our button to the right. So now that button has its own alignment setting versus the text fields. And let's edit this button to look like our design. I already know I'm gonna need to clear out the color. Let's go grab our hex code. So I did already paste the hex codes here so I could grab them easily. This is our button color. Select the color box, and then right in this hex field, I will paste my hex code. Great. And then you can see that we have a radius of 8 underneath borders on the button, but we want that to be a rounded button. So let's just pump it all the way up to 90. Awesome. So that's looking really good. I do feel like the padding on the top and bottom is a little tall. It looks okay, but I do want it to match my design. And as you can see, it's just kind of a shorter button, or not quite as tall. So how I will fix that is with the button layer selected, I come over to my styles panel and then I scroll down, and I'm going to collapse some of this because I've already seen to the borders and I've already seen to the background. This keeps me. You can also collapse these layers on the design panel, which helps me sometimes like stay focused on what I'm working on. Okay, so first I'm going to address the size, and as you can see, you have a minimum height set to auto. Set that minimum height to 0, press enter, and what that will do is free up the margins and padding to allow me to do my own custom height for the button. So down in margins and padding, I'll add a 6 to the top, press enter to save, and add a 6 to the bottom, press enter to save. Lovely. And the last thing I'll do is address that font weight because it looks a little heavy to me. Great. And I want to make sure, I just want to make sure that my button rounding was nice. And then does it say get started, join today? So let's change the font. Data. Okay, wonderful. Now the very last thing for this card, as I'm looking at it, I believe I have a little bit more rounding on my card. My rounding is 24 pixels. Oh, and my card looks like a little bit of a different color. So I'm going to grab my hex from this card. Let's go update that really quick, and then we'll address those corners. So I just grab this hex code. I'm going to select my card layer, go down to the color field, paste my hex code. Okay. And then let's check out what we have here for corners, 24. Currently it's set to 16, so we're just bumping it up a little bit. Great, love it. Let's collapse it and move on to content. So looking at this content section, I'm gonna take that same approach of let's remove anything that we're not going to use first. And I can already tell that I'm not going to need this category section with the multiple cards. I really like this popular workout swim lane. It suits my needs very well for both of my offerings, which is programs and quick workouts. And what I'll ultimately do is duplicate that section. So I'll remove this category section to start. And I'm just gonna go through these layers to find it, collapse some of them, just keep it clean. All right, so here's that category section. Select that on the layers panel and delete. And then I'll go ahead as well and grab the CTA card and move it below the popular workout, just because I already know popular workout is up there at the top. So I just grab it and I drag it and nest it, not within, but underneath. There we go. So you can see that they have the same like value, popular workout and CTA. I don't want to nest it. I want to keep it right under there. So they both live within that content box. And I'm going to rename this panel to programs, and then I'll expand it and I'll work on this panel first. Okay, so we have our heading, and let's adjust the text color. So we will be adjusting the theme, which means we want black text because we're doing a light theme now. It'll be hard to see for a second, but we'll fix that. And clear that out. Add that black value. And I'm just going to go through and do it to these as well. So now that we have our font colors changed, I'd really like to be able to see them again. So let's go ahead and change this background content color to our light color. It's not quite white, it's a little off-white. So content background color, I'll grab the hex code, and that will help us see what we're working with text-wise. So I'm going to select the content layer, come right here to the background color, clear it out, and then paste my hex code. Such a nice big change for such a little effort. I love that. Back to our programs. I'm going to change my font really quick for programs as well. Not my font, my text. Programs. And then I am going to up the size a bit. I know that that was 24. And I'm going to come over to the See All button and select this decoration underline because I'd like my button a little bit more poppin'. just so people can understand it's a touch point. I'm checking my size, 14, semi-bold, 14. And let's go ahead and do system, semi-bold. There we go. Because when we're making touch points, we want to make sure that it stands out as like something to click on versus just more text to read. And then we have, I'm just checking my sizes. I'm going to make this 14. And that's 12. I'm going to set that to medium because it's a little thin to read. Great. Okay. Collapse this program section and let's address the CTA. Oops, I hid the CTA. So this CTA card or banner is where I am prompting my clients to upgrade. It's always good to have something like this on the home screen of your app if you have a subscription type plan, because you can give them an opportunity to bump up their payment a little bit. All right, so under CTA, the first thing I'll address is this background color. Come in here and grab the upgrade card background, hex code, card. Okay, so I want to select banner within the layers panel, clear out the background color and add my hex code. And then I'm going to address this button. Now this button is a little bit different than the one I've added up here, and I'll show you how. So it's labeled as a pressable, and sometimes that's what I've learned is that whether you're in a design software or in a program like Draftbit, you have to poke around the layers sometimes if you cannot find what you're looking for. For instance, I'm looking for the color field for this button so that I can change it. It exists somewhere, and if I don't find it right away, I just have to go a layer deeper. So there we go. That's where it lives. Grab my Figma hex code and paste it. Now we have an orange button. I do want to make this text size a little bit larger, so I'm going to bring that. Let's see what this one is. This button's text is 14. So yeah, that does look a little small. Let's do 14. And we're going to do system, semi-bold. Great. That looks really good. Now, healthy life belongs to everyone. Clear that out and turn that to dark text. And what did I say on mine? Reach your goals faster with a custom workout plan. That's a little long. I might change that. So let's go to our data field. Reach your goals with a, I'm going to leave width up here, with a custom plan. Great. Looking good. Double check the rounding on the banner card. We have a radius of 20. I'm going to check it against my design. Radius of 20. So that's matching. And then the next thing we'll do is to change out this stretching man for my illustration. So I'm going to find him over here in the right image. And the way that we change images, so that's one of the skills that we'll go ahead and address now. How we're going to change images is very similar to how you change text. Select your image in the layer panel, come to the data input tab, and then we'll clear out the data and then select from our uploads. So I have uploaded already what I need, and that's a little side note that you can start your project, upload everything you need, or upload as you go. Great, she looks great. She's got a custom plan, she's hitting her goals. And I'm gonna go ahead and actually change my background image as well. So let's come up to image background layer, clear this out, and then select this runner. Wonderful. Okay, so we have our programs, our CTA, and then we need one more of these swim lane offerings, and that's going to be our quick workouts. So what you'll do is select programs, duplicate, and then I'm gonna put quick workouts. And I'm not gonna go and label all these right now because of time's sake, but the way that you would obviously change the images for each of these workout offerings or classes is to go into your data panel and repeat the process that I just showed you for the CTA card and the background image. And it looks like this is really close to done. The last thing we need to do is to get that CTA card between these two different offerings. So let's just grab it here in the layer panel, pull it up, and drop it. This is looking really, really good. I think I'm going to set it back to 100%, and then I'm gonna put it on web preview. So if I did have this prototyped and stuff, the web preview will allow for me to click through it. It's a really cool feature. So I have noticed one thing that I do need to address before I feel done with this home screen, and that is this card. As I'm looking at it up against my Figma design, I have a transparent card in Figma. So in Figma, it's set to 60%, and this is the hex value. Let's go change that so we can go look at how we can make something transparent and change the opacity. Go back to my draft view, which is my designing view, have my card selected, go over to the background, paste that hex code, and then I'm gonna set my opacity by using this scroll, and I'm looking to set it at 60. So let's try this value set at 60. Is that a little light? No, that looks very good to me. Okay, there we go. So we set our opacity, and now it's really rocking. Thanks so much for following along with this video. Let's recap what we covered. First, we explored Draftbit starter apps and chose a template that fit our needs. Next, we added and removed sections so that the app would contain all of the key features that I need for my clients. Then, by making changes to the fonts, colors, buttons, and cards, we're able to turn this template into something that feels truly custom and unique for my clients. So congratulations, you now have the first screen, the home screen, of your app completed. Between now and when you launch your app in the App Store, you'll have to complete a few more steps. Obviously, you'll need to take these skills that you learned in this video to build out the rest of your screens. You'll create a nav bar for your app, you'll prototype your app, and then you'll set up any back-end items that are needed. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.